To offer grades that reflect student understanding, instructors give assessments. Assessments are given in all course formats, whether traditional, hybrid, blended, or online. Assessments can take many forms online, but they're consistently used for the same purpose, for instructors to check student comprehension and identify where students need help before they fall behind. When used effectively, assessments promote student success throughout a course. Feedback on an assessment is a powerful tool that gives students the ability to gauge their learning throughout the course and to determine areas for improvement. In this presentation, we'll be discussing some of the more common assessment types, as well as best practices for assessing effectively. Assessments connect to all three of the best practices focused on in this training. Assessments promote student engagement when students are able to work with information in a way that relates to their lives or to their future careers. Likewise, students who receive feedback promptly can apply what they've learned to coursework, which will allow them to engage in the materials more fully. Lastly, prompt feedback promotes instructor presence when it's personalized for each student and shows evidence of an instructor's thoughtful evaluation. NU Online encourages instructors to think of a course's weekly learning objectives as they develop assessment strategies. In other words, when telling students what they'll learn or be able to do at the end of a lesson or week, be sure to give an activity that allows students to demonstrate that new knowledge or ability. Linking assessments to learning objectives can be done in one of two ways, by beginning with assessments or beginning with objectives. Some instructors find that developing assessments first helps them write measurable learning objectives. Whether you write learning objectives before or after you create assessments, it's important to remember that your assessments should accurately measure the skills that are described in your learning objectives. Think back to when you were a student. You put a lot of time and effort into a project, paper, or discussion board post, and you had to wait a long time to see if what you did was acceptable while coursework moved on. Many people have experienced this and remember the frustration and how it decreased motivation. Grade assignments as soon as possible so students can learn from mistakes and successes. This will keep your students motivated and help them avoid repeated errors. The longest a student should have to wait for feedback is 1 week. Remember that students have different abilities and preferences when demonstrating their knowledge. Consider allowing them to show their understanding of concepts in various ways. What follows are some common assessments that can be used with tools available through NU Online. Student papers and/or essays are necessary assessment tools for some disciplines. Electronic assignments created in Blackboard allow students to submit work by uploading documents or typing directly into Blackboard. This has the added benefit of tracking student submissions so you know who turned in an assignment and whether anyone submitted after a due date. Provide due dates within the assignments so students can see notifications in the To-Do module of the course homepage and in the course calendar. Once a paper is graded, the grade is immediately visible to students along with any feedback you've given. The discussion board can be used for several types of assessments, such as weekly discussion and student presentations. The benefit to a discussion board-based assessment is that it makes collaboration and peer review very easy. The most common use of the discussion board for assessing students is a graded weekly discussion. This approach helps motivate students to participate in a weekly conversation and streamlines the grading process for participation. Video presentations can also be submitted to a graded forum by individual students or student groups. This is possible through the use of the Kaltura Mashup tool. By allowing students to submit presentations to the discussion board, you also make it easy for students to comment on one another's presentation. Tests and quizzes created in Blackboard allow for multiple question types such as multiple choice, multiple answer, true and false, short answer, essay, and many more. They can be created to provide automatic feedback for students in real time. You can choose what students see upon completion. For example, a short test to determine if students understand a concept can be set to show correct and incorrect answers upon completion, and thus be a learning tool to reinforce knowledge. Or, a final exam may be set to show only correct answers. Instructor feedback can be entered for correct and incorrect answers so students receive encouragement. For example, correct, great job, and incorrect, review chapters 5 through 7. You can allow multiple attempts for a test or a single attempt only. Academic integrity can be promoted in many ways. Questions can be presented in random order or pulled from a larger pool so that no two students see the same test. Your instructional designer can help you determine the settings to use for your course. The quiz tool can be used to post high-stakes assessments, such as a midterm or final exam. Consider also posting brief low-stakes assessments to give students the opportunity to show their mastery of material. This strategy also gives an instructor a way to determine who may need help before a high-stakes exam. If you want students to work together to create a document or presentation, you might consider using a wiki. Wikis allow all students, or students in a particular group, to add and edit content collaboratively. Contributions are shown in a timeline. This allows you and your students to see progress towards completion. If you want to prevent plagiarism or teach students the importance of citing sources, consider using Turnitin. Turnitin is a specialized electronic assignment tool that helps you maintain academic integrity in student submissions. Student submissions are checked against an extensive database of websites, academic journals, student submissions from multiple institutions, and more. Turnitin creates an originality report that shows any matches to outside content. This allows instructors to determine if plagiarism has occurred. Turnitin assignments can be set up for multiple attempts, which offers an opportunity for students to learn about using citations correctly. In this presentation, we've shown some effective tools and strategies that can promote student success throughout your course.